So I would like to invite on stage, let's start with Donna Dima, very famous, Executive Vice President, Retail and Private Banking at BCR. You are, yes, doesn't matter. I would like to invite Laura Vizir, Senior Vice President at TDBI Bank. Laura, please come on stage. I would like to invite on stage Yanis, my good friend from Mones, Head of Growth. Come on, Yanis. Irina Scarlat, Head of Growth at Revolut. Please come on stage, Irina. Last but not least, Mihai Vascu, CEO and founder of Money Mail Me. I think I've got everybody. No, I've got Hermano Chiarocchi, Chief Sales Officer at Deposit Solutions. My God, that's gonna be, it's the largest panel I've ever been. Somebody, oh, we are missing more chairs than I thought. So, Hermano, please, sit here. I'm gonna take another one. It's okay. Maybe I can even stay. No, I'm gonna sit with you guys. Otherwise I will look a bit foolish. Okay, thank you for being here. So why do we have this panel? And believe me, you don't see this kind of panel very often because sometimes they don't like to speak to each other. But thank you for making the effort and to be here in Bucharest for that. So we have this panel because since the financial crisis in 2008, many things have changed in the financial industry. We have heard from Brett this morning, from Theodore, from the panel. A lot of influence from regulation, a lot of influence from digitalization. So my question to you, and I've got 19 questions. We have just 1 hour. I will not ask all of them. The goal is also to involve you guys in the panel. So I will stop after 10, and I will leave the floor to the audience. So, what do you think is the most important innovation that has impacted your industry in the recent years? And I will start with the bankers, of course. So please, Dana.
Thank you. First of all, hello everybody. I would like to thank you, Sergio Cone. I don't know where he is.
He's running around. He's here.
Okay. For organizing this panel, I think it's very important to prove that in fact we are in the new period of the life of financial life. And I think my colleagues from the panel are here to discuss about this, and I'm so proud and happy to be together today because for the first or the second time, first time was 20 years ago, yeah, Sergio, we started together in the cars environment. Now it's the second time in my life, in my experience, working for the new transformation of the market. So, thank you. And I'd like to start to tell that the digital transformation is our world transformation. It's about something what can be happen with or without us, even while we are here in this event. And I think that it's very important to be part of this transformation. The people are searching and are choosing the digital experience to meet their new expectation, and this is very, very important. In this period, of course, we can see a lot of things and a lot of changes, but in this environment, I consider that the most important is the technology and mobile development. And I can speak here about a big transformation, an explosion in Wi-Fi and data mobile coverage. This is part of our real challenge. And of course, in BCR, because we want to discuss about banking, but we'll discuss also about fintechs and about new colleagues in this financial environment. In BCR, we don't discuss only about financial services. We discuss about the experience of our clients, and we build this experience together. And if these few years ago we discussed more than 55% relationship with clients in the branches, now this rate has dropped to 27%. It's a transformation, this? Yes, it is. And looking on the number of people, the clients who develop the relation with the banks through digital environment, 1 million clients already use George, and 80% of them use mobile device. It's a big transformation for Romania because we started 20 years ago with nothing. We built everything from zero. And I think all of us, we have a big role in this environment. I want to let my colleagues to speak, but before of this, I want to say that all of us, we have a responsibility for this market, and again, I'm happy to be together.
Thank you. Laura, maybe you want to take the mic.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us, first of all. And I would also put it on the tech. If you ask me, I think the tech was the big breakthrough in the market in the last years, and one of the major improvements were the cloud services, if you ask me, because it made possible for implementing in a standard platform all sorts of solutions, either from Romania or from abroad, which until that very point in time was not possible. So, for example, TBI Bank built a solution which took a signing solution from somebody, a video call from somebody else, and we did all that in order to ensure the best experience for our customers. Moreover, I think that another point is the know your customer procedures and how it changed. Now, okay, you can do identification of your customers on a video call and other alternative solutions, which helps them to apply on the go. As Dana said, for us applies also. Our applicants are 70% mobile, so you need to be there for them. So I think that Romania did a lot of steps, but there are still more to come, and for that we are waiting for open banking, let's say.
Okay, for the legal framework.
Yeah, thank you.
Edmano, I'm jumping onto you if you want to take the technology question or the...
With pleasure. I'm going to dodge the bullet and move on to the business model. I think that among the innovations that we've seen, let's say, technology was definitely an enabler, I mean, not to mention, but the way we see business models evolving is the real thing. Meaning that nowadays banks cannot, perhaps not all of them, can afford to be any more generalistic. So offering any in-house products catering for any kind of financial needs of their clients. So at the end, we see the world rather evolving towards a platform-based approach, and not just because we are a platform, but because banks can become a platform themselves, deciding on where to play. So either perhaps defining certain areas of specialization, that it be a product or service that can apply domestically or abroad, or perhaps leverage on their client base. Let's not forget, it's one of the biggest challenge for the challenger banks. I mean, with all respect, you could tell perhaps even better, but it's a factor not to be underestimated. You know, the rapidity of ramping up a large client base.
And that's your work. You are the platform that connects the banks and the customers, if I understood.
That's correct. So basically, actually, we connect banks, enabling them either enhancing their value proposition to the savers in the deposit space, so basically valuing the major assets that they have, or we also enable the other side. Let's say the banks that can be more or less specialized, and we help them diversifying their funding. But let's say that, don't want to speak too much about that, but if you look at this from a general
but it's interesting because it's linked to my next question, is the value proposition. Both of you said that also what the clients are expecting has changed. So, Irina, I'm coming to you. Revolut, I guess you guys have discovered something about the clients. So what do you think has changed in the client's perspective and the value they are seeking?
So I think I fully agree with Hermano that technology is the enabler, is not the change itself. What technology did, though, is that it changed the expectations of people, the expectations of users. Like 10 years ago, it was super expensive to travel across the world. Now you can jump on a plane and travel at very affordable costs. 10 years ago, you couldn't communicate easily with people on another continent. Now you just use WhatsApp, you use Skype, and you talk to them. People are expecting things to be simple, to be fast. They no longer want to lose time. Time is more precious today, even if we are more and more efficient, time is more precious today than it has been 10 or 20 years ago. And I think with technology as an enabler, we have, as financial institutions, we have to meet the needs of the clients. And this is what Revolut has done spectacularly, and this is what in fact explains our growth rate, because we are a fintech, we are not a bank, although we aim to build a global bank, to build the world's first truly global bank. We are a fintech, we are a company that has technology at its core, and we use technology in order to satisfy the needs of the people. And the fact that if I look only at Romania as a case study, I joined Revolut 1.5 years ago. We were barely 20,000 users in Romania back then. People hardly knew about Revolut, and it was super hard for people to actually trust a mobile app with their money. And now, before the end of the year, we're going to be hitting 1 million users in Romania, which is something that we didn't expect either. And here it's because we leverage technology to meet the needs of the people, but it's also because people on the Romanian market are becoming more and more educated. And I want to take this opportunity to also say how important initiatives such as Școala de Bani, BCR's project, does on the Romanian market, because it's about educating the market. Because, okay, people want simple things, want fast things, but in the same time, they have to understand financial technology. And I think that to comment on this, Revolut is a disruptor on this market, but we have seen how the market has grown after Revolut entered, because competition is always best. Competition is best for us as financial institution because it forces us to be good and to meet the needs of the clients, and it's good because the clients have choice. After Revolut entered the Romanian market, we saw lots of launches. We saw that the pace of digitalization within traditional banks sped up, and this is to the best interest of the clients.
Good. So, okay, so what's the main value proposition of Revolut? It's speed?
It's simple.
It's simple. Okay. You want to add something, Dima?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Irina, for this introduction, because it's true that technology needs to be learned by clients. We discuss about entire Romania, not only important cities of Romania, and it's our responsibility to develop the Romanian market and not only important cities. I want to say that till now, in the banking system, because of course we started more years ago, we discussed only about pricing and the standard financial products. And in the new regulations environment, we can say competitive for banks, for non-financial institutions, for payments company, for fintechs. We succeeded like a bank, yeah, to build the QIC online 100% process, and in less than 7 minutes the client can open a relation with the bank with everything included, current account, debit card, or online banking. It's important to know because for a bank, first time in Romania, discussing with the national bank, we find a solution, and this is the important step in our transformation. And it's not only about current account, only a few words, because the intelligent banking is more than current account. We developed only 1 month ago, and it's launched already, lending, consumer lending online. Less than 7 minutes you can have a loan with George lending, and what is real different is that it's not only one line. The client can take a loan everywhere, if they are at home, at office, and also in the branch, because we discuss to have a knowledge and an experience for clients. It's important in order to learn them, we need the people, the branches, to use the advisors in order to learn the clients. It's not something that can happen over the night. And lending and mortgage experience in the new app, it's only one part of this transformation. Having the big data and 7 years archive online available for clients, and building the payments ecosystem, because we discussed about payment ecosystem, and the last days we discussed about Apple Pay, George Pay. In few days BCR will launch first time for the banking system, because I know that Revolut started already an in-app provisioning solved by George. Is really important. And why? And I want to finalize with this. Yeah, of course. We are not in UK and we are not in Singapore. The banks doesn't work only for their client. Yeah, we don't develop only for our clients. We develop the environment in order to create a usage behavior of these intelligent payments. Yeah? In 1 year, in last months, we developed a huge ecosystem for payment solution in the public transport, 11 cities, including subway in Bucharest. And this is a real transformation because more than 1 million transactions happen every day, not for BCR clients, for everybody, for Revolut clients, for payment companies, and for all banks from the world. So really, it's important to be together in this play.
Thank you, Dana. I'm jumping to you, to another big fintech, Mones, Yanis.
Yes.
How do you see the evolution of the value proposition to client and the needs of the clients? You guys, if I'm not mistaken, you target expats, or coming back to what Irina said, people are traveling and you are trying to work on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we started in 2015 as being the first full mobile current account in the UK, and then we expanded in Europe with the passporting method, of course.
How many clients do you have today?
We're about to cross 2 million.
2 million, okay.
So yeah, we're not the biggest when it comes to absolute numbers, but we put quite a lot of focus when it comes to day-to-day usage. So about 70% of our customers get their salaries, and more or less they use us as primary account. And that's what we are continuing focusing on. We put lots of effort when it comes to localization. Not only on a language point of view, obviously customer support, all meetings, but also giving to the customer a full operational current account in the local market. So this is the future for us, and of course, what every fintech has done in the past, and we've done the same. We unbundled the banking system, we isolated the current account until we found product market fit, and now we'll start bundling more things like credit or other financial products, insurance, etc.
Thank you. You know, when I started at the Loft almost 3 years ago, we talk a lot about the GAFAs, you know, Google, Amazon, Facebook, replacing the banks. And when you talk with bankers, they say they will never replace us because people trust us, and they will never put the salary in a fintech bank account or let Google process payment. You guys has demonstrated that it's not true. People are putting their money, their salary in your bank account, and they're transferring that to their families all over Europe.
Yeah, actually, we are monitoring it very closely. As you have seen, Google, Apple, they don't really launch financial products alone, but they go with banks. So there's something when it comes to trust and banks and the society for sure. For us, yes, we put quite a lot of effort, being always there, trying to deliver optimal experiences. That's where you win customers nowadays. Be always available, be quite responsive, be quite fair with your fees. So there is a way to build trust if you're not a big company.
How do you convince them? How do you build this trust?
Security,
okay,
for sure. Availability, customer support, or payment rejections if your service is not accepted worldwide.
It has to work every time. You know, I've got a bank account in Luxembourg, and I think once every 2 weeks my access to the bank account doesn't work on the website. But I think it's okay. But if I'm using Revolut and Mones, both of you guys, if you screw up once, I will be worried.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to ask a question in the audience. How many of you love your bank?
Wow. They all work in banks. That's why they say they love.
How many of you work in banks?
Oh no. Okay.
Okay.
My God.
People trust banks historically due to their size, because they've been there for a long time. Not because they are infallible, just because they've been there. It's a tradition, so they actually trust bank. But in most circumstances, banks are not a love brand. Like as you said, I have my account at the Luxembourg bank. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, that's it. I don't. With fintechs, it's something else. We are love brands. People actually love and take pride in using our products, and we push a lot in building the communities around the product. So reliability is key and is crucial for us. And okay, banks fail, as banks will use more and more technologies, bugs will happen and failure will be more and more frequent because it's inherent with technology. But we communicate differently. I mean, whenever we have something, we just go out there on social media and we post about it and we explain what happened, and we do post-mortems that are not internally, and we don't go through a million layer of approvals before communicating them to the public, but we just communicate the post-mortems in order to build trust. And one other thing is we have Revolut is a day-to-day card as well. Around 76% of the users use Revolut at least weekly. This is in Romania, which is huge. People receive their salaries in their bank account because we have some constraints on the Romanian market right now. Since banks do not allow cross-border run transfers for now, but they top up their Revolut card and they use it on a daily basis for their daily expensive. What's super important in order to build that trust is to emphasize the security, because right now, and without any unsubstantiated marketing claim, by using technology, Revolut is now the safest card existent on the market, because it's the only card that can be rendered to a piece of plastic just by pushing a button in the app. So if you showcase this to your users, you actually build trust. And because you're a love brand, you're actually going to have much more hate than a traditional bank is going to have as well.
Okay.
That's the other side of the coin.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's correct, because the George brand, it's follow Revolut, because we started before, and I think it's important, and I let my colleagues, it's important the brand. What you said, it's very clear.
Perfect. Are you following Revolut step by step?
I said that no, because you have lending. Thanks.
No, just he has to speak at one point. Mihai, money made me. How did you see the evolution of the customer relationship with your company, and why have you launched this company in the first place?
We started at the same point, 2015 in London.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot in the first years, but we realized that we could not really push the product into the market the way we wanted. So we pivoted, and now we became a technology provider for banks.
Okay.
We are selling neo-banking infrastructure to banks around the world. And on the other hand, we decided to pivot our product from being a fintech in London to being a European neobank. So we're now in the process of acquiring the European banking license and run this as a normal, fully fledged neobank, cashless, that can tap into the European framework from a development that comes from the bottom up. So it's not a fintech that fights for a European license. It's actually reinventing and a reverse M&A for a European bank.
Good luck with that.
So it's a different approach. We believe that clients still want the reliability of a brand. People still want to know that bricks and mortar still exists for the time being. I mean, we're not saying we're designing ourselves to first for adaptability, then for scalability. And it's important to kind of sell a different financial experience and also sell trust, because banks are in the business of selling risk and trust. So we want to start from a solid foundation, rebrand the company, and launch next year.
Good. Where are you putting your license?
I cannot say now, but it's in Eastern Europe. Yes.
I should be in Luxembourg. It's fast.
We can discuss it.
Good. I'm going to jump on what you said, because you are opening a financial service provider. Is it still attractive? I'm not going to ask some of you if it's profitable, because I know it might not be that easy. But is it still profitable to open a financial service provider?
I would say yes, and I would say yes because if you find the right proposition in the market, and just to complete what was discussed about what customers expect, now they expect something secure, fast, and easy to be accessed. Again, I think that there are a lot of gates that have to be opened, and we have a lot of field to catch up. The Nordic countries and the Western European ones, so there is a lot of space.
They're not profitable, believe me.
Okay.
I know my banking partners, regulation is really killing them. And yes, I mean, the new competition from all over sides are just making the margins very, very thin.
Exactly, but there is a lot of playground to be covered in Romania, so I think that the new players could have some good propositions for the market. However, I think it's very important for the risk to be managed, especially when you are speaking about crediting, because TBI is in the crediting business, the point of sale financing, and there it's very important for you to manage the risk, especially when we are talking about online financing. It's even more.
Yeah, but the margin, again, the interest is almost zero. It's even negative in some cases. You pay just to get the money.
I would debate that.
Okay, but it's still profitable.
But it's still profitable.
Are we gonna see more players coming, you think, or are we done?
I think so, and I think that again, open banking will open a lot of gates, and merchants will be able to open their own solutions of payments. That would be one use case. There will be multiple ways of containing risk by accessing data points, and it will open new gates. However, we are a very regulated environment and market, so this would be, let's say, an initial stopper in equalizing those markets.
Perfect. Erman, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I felt compelled to jump in.
Go,
because,
come.
to spread the moment of
Come.
I guess, positivity, because we partner with about 100 banks, and if I take, as you can hear from my accent, I'm Italian, and one of our Italian partners was just founded in 2011, so with less than 10-year history, they were profitable as of the very first
What's the name of the bank?
It's called Banca Sistema. And the very interesting model, but what's the peculiarity is that the soup is very specialized. So I appreciate that, there's some B2B background behind, but I guess that in the panel, let's say the B2C focus is more represented. We are more from the B2B side, and we see that the specialization, like ITB, for example, in receivable towards the public administration, or particular types of consumer lending, trade finance, I mean, you name it. I think that the good news is that there are lots of niches that to be explored. Of course, scaling these then become the challenge. You want to reach out and also to be able to serve the mass market. But I think that through specialization, I think that there is a quite good space for a healthy margin.
Dana, do you agree with that? I mean, do you see still some
We are
attractiveness?
profitable. Sorry. What I'd like to tell you that, of course, probably at the beginning, all the activities are not profitable. I cannot imagine how was 40 years ago. We didn't have a lot of banks in Romania. But it's clear that step by step, being near to the clients and develop the business, you can become profitable. It's very important, the quality of the services, the quality of the offer, what you offer to the clients. And I think the banks have also another big, we can say, role in the market to finance the fintech or to finance the companies, because we are the financial intermediary. We have lending, but we have depositors, but we have also lending, and not only for private individual clients, but also for companies and payment companies.
Where do you see the opportunity coming? Which market? I mean, we spoke that with profitable market in Romania. Where's the opportunity? In which segment are you focusing?
I want to tell you that we discuss, because we have election, 19 million clients, but in fact we discuss people, but we discuss 16 million, and in fact we discuss only 7 million active. We have 75% bank population, and we work for each step and each percent every year in order to increase. I think that new generation will come, and they will come with a different behavior. They started with digital, and this is very important, and we prepare the bank for this next generation. We have a lot of challenge inside of the bank in order to convince the investors to put money in digitalized. But I want to say thank you for you guys, because you challenge us, and I think this is a step of evolution. The new generation will come with a different behavior, and we invest for them. Of course, we want to maintain the profitable business, and this means active clients, mature clients, adults, and we learn from them, because the business and the life is for the clients, so you need to understand their needs. Financial education is part of our lesson, but also digital education is a part of our lesson, and we built a big team in the bank. It's called Digital Expert League. The advisors work every day.
How many persons are involved?
We have 1,000 people in the branches who work actively for digital lessons.
Wow.
And the big challenge for us is, and we develop already, to have the same process, digital process in the branches. Now, account is open exactly like in online, assisted by advisor, because our focus is to create a daily banking in the digital environment, totally different than 20 years ago, and when we didn't have the banking, retail banking, and to move our attention and focus to financial education and more complex and advisor, investment advisor for the clients, because the investment, it's a high opportunity not only for the banks but also for clients. Private individual in this sense. They can invest in your company too,
Irina, thank you so much, Dana. Irina, Yanis, question to you guys. What's your dashboard? You are both of you are in charge of growth. So what are the KPIs you are looking for? How do you navigate countries like Romania or your growth? What are the metrics you are looking for?
Near you. I will start. Cool. So far, until I would say last summer, the focus was to build a healthy business model. So we didn't want to blast hundreds of thousands of users without being sure that we have the unit economics right. To your previous question, actually, on a contribution margin level, we are profitable, not overall as a business, but there's a clear path to profitability and scale. So if you have good gross margins, it's not impossible.
What's the margin? Can you say it? Or?
I can't, I'm sorry,
okay.
I can't.
Shame.
But yeah, since July we doubled actually. July we're at 1 million now, next week we're crossing 2 million users. My day-to-day monitoring is about acquisition and product adoption. Not only how many people we get on board, but how many people actually spend with us. Because we don't make money by getting money in, but via people spending it via our platform as well.
So you're looking how many new people is on your platform and how much they spend on your platform?
And of course retention metrics. We don't want to lose older customers.
Okay.
So if we see some markets, cohorts.
What's the churn? Can you say?
It's very small, very small.
Okay.
And I think being a primary account helps a lot on that.
What's the main reason why people close the Monez account?
Usually, I would say they have a negative experience. Back to your first question, actually. If a payment fails or something that's very local to a market that we don't cover, that's usually the case.
Okay. Irina?
We regard growth holistically. Like, we're not talking about growth, and I've been working in other tech companies as well, and we've never been in a growth at all costs phase. Like, just spend money, throw money out the window in order to bring users, and those users might never be active. So when we look at growth, we look at acquisition, conversion, and retention. And we basically own the product metrics all along the funnel. That means that we of course look at signups, which is the top of the funnel, but we are interested in pushing those users down the funnel. So we are looking at the first activated user in terms of conversion, because after the sign up, or I've saw a couple of fintechs reporting app downloads, which is the most inaccurate way of reporting your size is if you look at the actual app downloads, which can be 10 times higher than your signups. So we look at signups, we then look at activated users, because after the users sign up, they have to go through the KYC process, and we have different levels of activation, because it's activation to KYC process, it's activation to first top up, the fact that they put money in Revolut, and it's activation to first transaction. And then further along the funnel, it's weekly active users and monthly active users, but we don't monitor as much because we focus on weekly. And we want to make sure that we keep our users active and engaged. And I think it's a thing related to size. We have small churn levels as well, but I'm sure that traditional banks have even lower churn levels, because people that have an account with a traditional bank are less likely to change as opposed with people who have an account with a fintech. We don't monitor actively churn at this point because we're very focused on activity, but as we grow as a company and as we mature and as we become mass market in the market where we operate, we're going to focus on churn as well.
How do you attract them? I mean, what's your main, How do you capture them, those clients? Where do you find them?
So we have a very simple value proposition, which is radically better.
Okay.
We are radically better than any other alternative existence on the market,
Okay.
fintech or bank, and we live up to this promise. Like if you try this product, you're going to see that it's actually radically better than anything else that is on the market. The user experience is radically better. Basically.
No, I agree. How much is your cost of acquisition, if I may say? I don't know if you...
I cannot share the CAC here.
No, because I mean, you said that you and Yanis...
So, and the CAC varies per market, the CAC varies per acquisition source because you have various acquisition channels, but yet again, if we look at our markets where we operate, we are profitable as well. We are not profitable overall as a company because we're investing in international expansion, like we've recently launched in Singapore, we are about to launch in Japan, in the United States of America, and this means a lot of investment. But we are profitable and we have safe margins in the countries where we operate. And I think in fintech this is crucial, more so than in any other tech company.
And you see it in the news every day. Tech companies valued at billions that will just go bankrupt in a few months. Yanis?
I can't give you an exact figure, but I'm going to light up a little bit of fire. So yeah, for us, I think the success when it comes to acquisition is that we recoup the cost of acquisition within the first 4 months, even on the free accounts. So it takes us 4 months to recoup the cost of acquisition.
Wow, impressive. Okay, must be quite low then. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to light the fire as well.
Go.
Just
Breaking news.
Data points and somehow to establish a bridge between the B2C and the B2B side.
Go ahead.
You might know that our technology enabled the internal deposit marketplace of the Deutsche Bank that has also recently become an investor, ours, not only a client. And they have a conversion rate, which was the main metric here, of up to 5%, which is a multiple between 8 and 9 times any other financial product they have on the platform. But this is important for the other banks that basically can access Deutsche Bank as a funding channel, because this, as you can imagine, means lower funding costs and so on and so forth, and also zero acquisition costs because they tap directly to the existing clients. So when I was speaking before about specializing, using bank as a platform, this might be, I think, a good example.
Mihai, you want to put some wood in the fire?
If I can add something regarding metrics here as well, when we look at CAC, at the customer acquisition cost, we divide it by channel, but we are always kept by LTV, by the lifetime value of the user that we compute on a 1-year threshold. So basically we're not investing in acquiring users if it's more expensive to acquire them than their lifetime value.
And how do you know that?
Estimations, machine learning,
That's what I said.
econometrics.
Estimation. Mihai, if you want to take the mic, join us.
Yeah, we are good spectators of this.
No, interesting, as I said, most interesting panel I've been.
We're learning a lot from also the bigger banks, because most of them make a lot of money, but they have a huge cost base. So I think you need to innovate in both areas, customer acquisition and customer retention, and both in kind of like having a lean structure that can allow you to have healthy margins, but also scale up healthy. In the sense that the way I see it, coming from the technology scene, I see it as a profitable tech company that can be easily financed by any VC.
Okay.
So if you go with a model, even if it's banking or if it's, you need to be able to be funded by a VC. So if you are in that time frame, if you are in that space where you've designed your growth model and your margins and your cost base and your growth rate in the sense that it stands out. I mean, it's a valid proposition for a VC. Then I think you have a healthy business model in this space.
But that's the problem, Mihai. Most VCs are just looking at your traction. So you're burning a lot of cash to get new clients, but they don't look for the first years at your profitability. So you can go bankrupt after 4 years, and those guys are in business for...
Yes, in our space, 1 year is long term. This happened, I agree with you, but this was the scenario some months ago. After we work and after lift...
It's going to change, you think?
Yes. I mean, I just came back now from some meetings with VCs, and they always focused on profitability and healthy business models. Now they don't care that much if you're not already a huge business like the ones that we have here. If you're in the growth stage, you don't have any chance to raise money right now on future expectations. So now you either need to prove your business model and have a healthy fintech model, either you don't raise today. This was possible last year, this time, definitely, but today if you cannot show, and if you show a marginal loss per client, an increasing marginal loss per every client, like some of the fintechs are doing, from 50 euros loss per year to 80 euros loss per customer, and if you see this kind of increase, now it's extremely hard to get funding. So if I'm reverse engineering this feedback from them, and I'm applying it into a bank that wants to become a neobank and a proper player, I think it should be a balance between all the innovations, but also a healthy growth business model and a very kind of like applied way of innovating in the customer acquisition side.
Given your experience in the field, and Laura, I'm coming to you, which fintech will not be with us in the next three years?
I don't know. I cannot think.
Okay.
The ones that
breaking
cannot,
news. We are looking for breaking news.
Yeah, the ones that are too big to be saved.
Okay, good.
They need to save themselves, so no VC can save them. They need to kind of like save themselves.
Laura, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to add something. TBI Bank is playing into the banking field, but with some fintech behaviors, and I think that the business model is very important. For example, for us, we have started online, but then we transitioned it into offline. So we have deployed a multi-channel solution, which is initiating an application offline and is transiting it into online. Therefore, the costs are even more reduced. We are now present in more than 3,000 locations, merchant locations in the market, which sustains the business model and sustains the profitability.
What do you mean virtual locations?
Sorry?
What do you mean by virtual locations?
Not virtual locations, in physical
physical
location.
location. How many clients do you have?
We have a database of around 100,000 customers in Romania.
Okay.
But it's increasing, and it's increasing year on year. And also, it's very important to mention the database of partner merchants that we have. It's very important.
Of course. Dana, please.
I want to say that Irina is right about relationship with clients. It's very important to have long relationship with clients, and of course if you are at the beginning you estimate this, and you need to estimate this. If you are after more years together with the standard model, you need to change the model, and I think it's the case of the financial institution, where in our case we change operating model in order to be more efficient, to reduce the cost, and to maintain and to increase the profitability in the environment where we need to invest a lot in digitalization. It's a cost about more millions euro, yeah. And even if you have the long relationship with the clients, you need to use the new technology also in the inside of the bank. It's real critical to change the bank from the core activity and not only in front of clients.
But that's going to be one of my next questions, and I'm jumping on it right now. No, it's perfect. So my work at the Loft, Luxembourg House of Financial Technologies, is to make banks understand that they don't have to develop everything themselves, and they work with fintechs and this collaboration. What's about BCR? I mean, are you guys working more towards fintechs? When you see there's an opportunity in the market, say, okay, should I contact Yanis at Monez, or should I contact Revolut and see if we can do something together?
I can tell you that I'm proud that we work together, and we work together inside of the bank to convince not only my colleagues from retail, because they are very convinced on this, but also the others.
So who is to be convinced? Who is the most difficult?
Generally speaking, the investors, yeah, because investors invested in something it's a standard model in financial environment, and now they need to change also their mindset. We work together in the new environment. So I am proud to say that we work already for a few years with a technology company, and we have clearly example. We work with Qualitans for the mortgage experience. I think the unique app in Romania who generates different experience for the mortgage. That flow is online for to build the file of the law with all documents uploaded, notary included, communication online, everything. So after the financial approval, it's immediately we reduce 50% the time consuming for the clients, and I think this is a real advantage for them. We work with Fintech OS. I don't know if he's here, because I know
he was,
yeah. Okay, hi. We work with them for the online onboarding process, using their services in cloud for the. It was services because we We respect the rules for the security environment. We have all the information inside of the bank, but we use services from fintech OS for this service, these functionalities. And also, we work with a fintech from Czech Republic, yeah, for the loyalty program Plus and Con, and we built this only in few months. This is a real advantage for the bank working with partners. Yeah, we are not a technology company. Yeah, we are the bank. Yeah, we offer the money for the lending and we offer the environment for deposit. In order to develop, we need to have the partners. And I think in few months you can develop a lot of things, and it's not necessary to start from zero technology. You can use the service existing already in clouds.
So, and I'm gonna ask Hermano about that, but what do you think is the role of the bank anymore? So is it upfront to speak with the clients, or it should fade behind and just managing the money?
Each bank has their own destiny in their hands.
What do you advise your
clients? It's not even the only two options, in fact. But let's say, if you want to simplify, you can choose in which role to play. So either leverage on your client base, but then become the best in class to fulfill all their financial services needs, regardless of whether you somehow create them off your balance sheet or through third-party providers. And on the other side, you can say, okay, you focus on certain products, and then you distribute through, for example, other banks. And we see the world in this way as a platform, so we ourselves are a middleware or piece of capital market infrastructure. We facilitate, exchange of liquidity. And but as I said, I guess that if you look for very creative consulting companies might have laid out another couple of options. But if you want to simplify, these are the two. I think the interesting part of this is that this division is not dogmatic. What I mean is that you may be, for example, let's take for Romania, focus on your clients domestically, but, for example, have an interest to diversify your funding or, to fund a specialized business line, from abroad. And basically, you strengthen your balance sheet and your business, playing different roles, perhaps in different markets, of segmenting the asset side from the liability side. So that, I think, is also an additional layer.
You want to add something, Laura? You are nodding, so she's agreeing with you. Good. Guys, I want to talk about talent. So it's a huge issue, I guess not just in Luxembourg, but also in Romania less, because here people are quite good, in fact.
Ask us for recruiting here.
When I start university, I say, okay, when I will finish university, I'm going to work for Goldman Sachs, for UBS, guys like that. When I finish university, I want to work for Google, for Amazon. So how do you guys, I guess for the fintechs, it's going to be easier than for the banks to attract talent. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. So question to you, Mihai. How do you attract talent, and what's your value proposition? How do you differentiate yourself from others?
We started as a software company 12 years ago, here in Romania. Now we have a team of 70 engineers. But when you start a funny project as a start, it's just a nice fintech or an app that you start with a friend, then the level of the guys that you recruit, with all the respect, is not that high. The moment you raise more money and you grow, you start affording better people. But just affording better people doesn't mean that you're actually going to get them. Because the best engineers out there and the best architects out there are not interested in a small increase of salary. They are interested in the challenge. So the scope, the aim that we have is to have challenging products for them, and this is how we manage to attract them. And we attract a lot of software engineers that come from the core banking division, from Temenos especially. That's a company that we love to recruit from. And it's interesting to see them kind of like manifesting their real creative power in a company where they have the decision-making power. So I think at the start you can gather a team of good developers to start with, but if you want to really get the best talents out there and fight with the big boys, it really needs to be something extremely challenging for them. And I think that's the best thing, to create a team and to create a structure of teams where they have a sense of ownership. Because most of the times, bigger companies, you know, they might pay better, but you're just someone in the organization. While in tech companies, you are the guy who came up with that specific concept, and you're the star of your small team internally. So it's a sense of ownership that I think attracts most of them, especially if you're talking about the 40-year-old ones with 20 years of experience in coding. They really need challenges. I mean, I've seen that you cannot, and they leave bigger companies, and we are surprised why some come to us, because it's a different challenge. I mean, we have a blockchain division and we have the neobanking division, so both of them are very interesting projects and challenging.
Do you target people who have midlife crisis?
We target developers that have not managed to reach their maximum potential in the organization that they're into, for various reasons,
okay.
You know, politics or any other things. And when they come here, they express themselves much easier.
Yanis, what's your intake?
I agree a lot actually with what Mihai said. We don't really have problems recruiting people. We even have cases of people leaving us for Google and coming back, mainly for ownership reasons recently. What we're observing, because we partner a lot with banks.
Where are you tech people? In Estonia?
No, I would say it's mostly London. Most of our development is in London. Quite a big part in Estonia, but recently we're scaling up in Lisbon as well. We are seeing partner banks actually struggling for talent, and because
we're gonna hear from them, but let's hear about Mones first.
Because usually we drive the roadmap now.
Okay.
You know, we are facing some delays for talent issues.
Good. I'm gonna ask Revolut first, and then ladies, it's gonna be your turn.
So before you actually asked the question, I was thinking and I wanted to comment that a huge competitive advantage that fintechs have is the people that we work with. Like, we work with some damn good people. They are super stubborn, they are super passionate about what they do, but they actually care, and they act as owners, as true owners, as you were saying before, and they actually work as if Revolut was their own company, because to some extent it is, because our people also have share options besides the classical annual pay, and they're emotionally invested as well in the company. It's quite hard to recruit though, and it's not hard in terms of number, because we open a position and we get hundreds of applicants for that position. But it's super hard to recruit the right person for the right role. And I think oftentimes we say that working in a startup is cool. Working in a bank or working in a corporation is not cool. And this is not right. This is fundamentally wrong, because you have to know how you are as an individual and find your place. It can be a startup, it can be a fintech, it can be a bank, it can be consultancy or whatever. You are a fit in a specific place. And oftentimes people just apply in bulk without thinking about that fit, and it's your role as a recruiter. And we are actively involved. Like, we have a huge HR team. At some point we were laughing that we're going to turn into a recruitment company because our HR team is growing faster than our growth team. And all the people in business are actively involved in the recruitment process, because we want to bring on board people that are the right fit. And this changes as the company grows. These types of people grow as well. Our people are not motivated by material reason first and foremost. They are builders. They are motivated by what they build, and they are decision makers, not decision takers. But at some point when the company grows, you have to switch and you have to hire decision takers as well, because otherwise you're going to have too many powerful individuals in the same room, and they're just going to fight with each other. So it's challenging all along the way, from the beginning to the end, but at some point, at this point in time, I can say that our biggest competitive advantage is our people, beside our product.
Laura.
For the banks, it is challenging. We will agree to that, and but it depends a lot on the model that you are chasing. If you are a bank which is taking mostly externalized solutions, then you are lucky. Then the fintechs are finding people, and passionate ones, middle-aged ones, anyone's, and they are working with passion to deliver good solutions. However, I think that Agile in Romania is a very embraced framework, and then it's a matter of how much the company is embracing the change, and it comes from top to bottom in order for the people to change their mentality. With proper training, you can change the mentality internally, and then...
That would be my question to you both. It's how do you upskill your people if it's difficult to hire them?
Yes, you do it through proper training, you do it through passing the message from up to down that that's the direction and that's where we need to be.
What kind of training do you do at your bank?
Mostly the agile framework, because we have to behave in an agile...
For everybody in the organization, or is just specific to engineers?
Specific BAs, project managers and product managers, because they should be there in order to conduct the change in the entire organization, and then, okay, legal and compliance and everybody has to come along, obviously, but they don't need specific training on agile, they just need to open up to the new solutions.
Do you have anything specific for Excel managers? When I ask fintechs who are your biggest competitors, most of the time, I would say 60% of the time is Excel. Because most people in banks are still using Excel for many, many things. So how do you upskill those people who have done Excel for 20, 30 years?
You implement solutions like Microsoft ones, which just
you upskill your software.
You overpass Excel and you just put reports into them and you have just dashboards and...
Perfect. Dana.
First of all, I'm a computer engineer, so starting with my experience 23 years ago, it was a big chance for me to start in the banking system. It was a big opportunity to be part of this transformation, because today we discuss about fintechs and technology, because something was happened 20 years ago. Coming back on the present, so I think current situation is really different, and it's a big challenge to recruit, because the labor market it's dynamic. You have new generation, a different expectation, and you have also specialized labor. Yeah, you need some competencies in IT, not the same everywhere. You need risk competencies, because we don't discuss only about IT here. We need also the risk environment to manage correctly for the clients. So we are in front of different life. In our case, of course, we started to recruit and we try to recruit, but it's a challenge. You said we have intelligence in Romania. It's true. We have more people intelligent, but they work for the other companies. And I visited Amazon last year, and it was a very, very nice surprise to speak in Romanian in Amazon in Seattle. So it's nice, but they work for the others. So in our case, BCR invested a lot to build the talents, yeah, to learn the people. And not only our employees, but also we work with university and high school, and we have clearly programmed to change a little bit the training model from the theoretical one to practical one, to be more pragmatic in the real life. And we have IT Academy, we have 4 big programs: IT Academy, Risk Academy, we have summer school, because we offer the internship paid program for the people to show them exactly the real life in financial institution, and to learn them to change the mentality, because you cannot imagine that if you have new generation, they are totally different. We are in Romania, and this is clearly a big impact for us. We need to work to change the mentality also for new generation, if we want to become the most important country in CE market.
Thank you. You want to add something, Armando? No? On the talent side.
Confirm that ownership was mentioned a few times. I would say ownership, entrepreneurship. This is a real driver that translates in many of the things that have been.
Entrepreneurship is something that many banks are doing hackathons internally, sometimes even with startups, to build this culture of innovation inside the companies.
And lack of legacy as well.
Lack of legacy. Okay. Listen, I still have 12 questions to ask, but Sergio is telling me that you should also let the others ask questions. So, yes, please. Just wait for the mic.
Thank you. Because we are discussing about the impact of fintech on traditional banking models, I've noted one question, just a second, please don't forget. We heard about fintech growth and Romanian fast adoptions regarding digital solutions, but I observed that our legislation regarding digitalization is not able to keep up. So is Romanian legislation ready for the real market needs? For example, biometric onboarding, online know your customer, and qualified digital signature? Do fintechs and banks have the law support to implement in Romania solutions to automate and to move online their services? Thank you.
I don't know who put it this question because I'm sure you. I invited you to discover what you said in the real life in BCR, because we have certified electronic signature for the onboarding process. We have lending online. We have mortgage experience online. So it's true that we are not on the first position on the regulatory environment, but we build step by step, and I think the transformation from the last year was huge. And you can discover this in banking, and BCR offer you entire relation daily banking digital.
Laura?
And thanks National Bank for helping us to be better and better and near to the fintechs.
Laura?
I would totally agree. I think that we are making huge steps into that direction, and biometrics right now, okay, we are not in China and we are very far from that, but we should start building on it because the legislation opened up to that. So, and I think that there is more to come in what regards to new regulations to support the change. So yeah, you can try for TBI. It's the same.
There's always a thing here, if I can add. Innovation precedes legislation. So basically, legislation cannot develop before the innovation actually comes, because we didn't have traffic rules before actually having cars. That's the same now with technology. But I think we're making serious steps in Romania here as well. And the National Bank of Romania is super open and super willing to get involved and help out on this.
You have some fans in the panel. A question in the back. Over there.
Hello everybody, my name is Titus. I'm working for a company supporting banks to become fintechs. It's called Apelo.
That was the branding part.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The question is like that. The new entrants are doing piggyback. A lot of piggyback on the shoulders of the other banks. For example, in Romania, there is a large bank who had a new pricing structure, cancelling the advantage of the new players. So I would ask Dana, especially Mrs. Demetrian.
You discuss about George account with NPR currency or what?
Let me phrase the question. How long it will take till the big players, I'm not saying especially about your banks, so you see it. So how long it will take till the big players in the Romanian market and maybe in other markets will take to have tactics of non-piggyback for the new entrants, as we've seen that there is already one player who had a new pricing structure cancelling the potential advantage of a new player.
Thank you, Dana.
Simple answer. I think not too much, because BCR is a leader, and if we start it, I'm sure that everybody will follow us. The point is that I said at the beginning, the operating model is different now, and all of us, including the other banks, work to change this operating model. This means to create different benefits and functionalities for clients than the standard pricing model, because the profitability will build taking into account the base of the benefits and the volume, and not necessarily the price. Of course, this is a big change between the digital environment and the different omni-channel environment than the standard branch. Yeah, we invest in the branches, but we invest in the branches in the sense to create a clearly, what I said, a central school for the clients, but not necessarily to use the branch to advise the clients for daily banking. I think not too much. I am sure that also the other banks will follow us in the pricing model. Of course, it's a challenge to maintain the profitability of the bank, but in our strategy, the profitability of the bank will come from the clients, because they will use the bank more and more. And I said at the beginning, we have only 65% bank population, probably plus minus.
So the pie
it's an opportunity to create a different environment, and it's our responsibility for this.
If I can add here something, The answer is not too long, and we saw, like, if we look at some, we're not competing only in terms of pricing with banking, but what we have started, like the core idea we started with is the fact that users have to pay significantly big prices for some services that could be more affordable to them. Like if I take the example of the exchange rate, we offer the interbank exchange rate to our clients. Banks do not offer this. They normally charge commissions from 2 to 10% to that exchange rate. And what we saw, like we entered the market, and I think UniCredit was the first bank who launched like open hours, where you have a time frame where users, retail users, can access the interbank exchange rate. Then Raiffeisen followed through and offered this. And more banks are going in that direction. So basically, before fintechs came, clients were captive. They didn't have any other options, so they had to pay those fees. Now with fintechs, clients no longer have to pay those fees, so banks will follow.
Only a small, or I want to add some information. Probably you are not, you don't know that Georgia account offered the NBR currency conversion not only for hour, but every day in the weekend. Everywhere you pay with Georgia account.
That's a great branding panel. I have to say, guys, I don't know any panel that's selling so much.
I knew the exact same thing, and I mentioned that an event organized by the Competition Council this Monday, and your CEO contradicted me, telling me that you always had a very competitive exchange rate, but you're not offering the interbank exchange rate. So this happened this Monday. I was always giving BCR as an example as well before that.
Maybe you can take the
Life is changed.
during
And I
lunch.
said that I convince everybody. It's about transactions, and it's about all transactions in the world.
You can take the conversation for lunch. Any more questions in the room? Yes, in the back.
I do have a question. It seems that in the online banking space, there's almost a race to the finish to occupy the space of investment and wealth management. So you have digital banks like N26 trying to open up traditional ways of saving and wealth management, whereas deposit accounts. And then you have Goldman Sachs opening up digital services for their traditional digital ways for doing their SIM services. And I was actually very curious to kind of make a comparison between the BCR strategy and the Revolut strategy, where wealth management. No. This is a real question. There's banks, there's traditional banks digitalizing, and there's
I agree with you, indeed.
online services which offer the traditional services. And I was curious, what's the priority for each of those?
Can you please repeat the question?
What would be the priority for wealth management services for Revolut, and what is the priority of digitalizing the wealth management services for BCR?
So we've already launched trading for our metal customers. We plan to expand this. Like our vision is that basically with Revolut you can manage your entire financial life, from your current account to your credits to your investment, everything in one app, and we're going in that direction. So yes, wealth is a priority for us.
Also for us, because I said that investment is very important in our life, and we have a lot of funds and there's asset management, and we offer in George, we work already for these benefits for clients, and we want to use, but don't forget MiFID II, because this is also a big investment for the banks to certify the people and to have the clearly certified tool for investment. So yes, it's our priority too.
Question in the front row. Question for Cosmin.
Thank you very much. So my question is very simple, and it's a closed question. When should I use my ING account in your omnichannels?
You discuss about multi-banking, or you discuss about open banking?
Open banking. Multi-banking through open banking, let's say.
I'm so happy that we want to renounce not to use the functionalities of ING, because probably you will discover more functionalities in BCR fast.
She's good. I mean, you should be the head of marketing.
Yes, it's true, because we discuss about lending, not only payments, and I think it's very important for the life of the clients. Very fast. I don't want to tell you exactly the date, because we have 1 year of the competition.
I have also BCR, Revolut, and so that's why I have a folder of applications. So very fast means next year. Yeah.
Very fast means very fast.
Good. Any more questions for the other?
For Revolut.
You didn't finish your question.
No, the question was for both of them, not for Peter only.
We plan on launching something. It's coming soon.
What? Breaking news.
The problem with us, we used to make a lot of announcements, like Revolut is working on this and Revolut is working on that, and reality showed that we are super optimistic oftentimes, and with development, things don't always go as planned and with products, so we stay away from announcing anything we're actually working on before it's ready.
Good. More questions from the room? Okay, I'm coming back to my panel for last question. To each one of you. Be very short, please. How do you want to be remembered? And I'm starting with you, Mihai. Very short.
It's personal or professional?
It's up to you. It's up to you.
The founder of Europe's first true neobank.
First true neobank.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yanis.
Never thought about it.
It's the most important question you can ask in your life, because one day it's going to be over, and
How optimistic.
it's realistic.
I just hope that we make an impact, actually. We help lives out there by delivering financial.
That's the goal, making an impact.
Yeah.
And working at Mones.
Yeah, it's. I think it's one of the best environments. That's why I opted in, actually, because when I met our CEO, the vision statement was so strong. They told me that they want to build the world's most inclusive service.
Nice.
And having struggled a bit with financial services by moving around, I was like, yeah, that's it.
Good point. Laura.
Okay, I'm a very young person and I don't think to that end, but if asked now, I would like to be remembered like one of the initiators in fintech implementations in banking system in Romania. And I would continue like that. I would continue with the multiple use cases to be applied in the market.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana.
23 years ago, I decided to remain Romanian after the university to change something for Romania. So I want to let something built behind me to increase the financial adoption and digital adoption in Romania. And I think we can. We build a lot, I build a lot, and I want to build continually.
Thank you. Irina.
So, if I look at Revolut, I don't want Revolut to be remembered because our life might end at some point, but Revolut will continue, and I'm sure about that. And we're going to be
an opportunity to sell Revolut. It's more about you. How do you want to be remembered?
So about me, I'm a builder, and I want to be a builder irrespective of where I am. And also, I'm definitely going to be remembered as the purple cow, the inconvenient person that always picks up and stands out.
Good.
First part of my career was in investment banking, and we'll see how it ended up. I mean, not my career, investment banking. And basically, my main motivation, which I think is the motivation of the company as well, is really to strengthen, to give a little contribution to the European banking system by making it more stable and eventually benefiting people. So ideally, also on a personal level, I'd like to make this contribution.
You've been amazing. Thank you so much, because contribution is the main keyword that came so much, and you are making a huge impact. So thank you so much for the panel.